Good evening, welcome. Apologies first of all for those of you who've been waiting a while here to get in. We've had an overwhelming response for this evening's event. We were unfortunately let down by a different venue we'd hoped to use originally, and in fact have spent most of the week replying to people saying, please can we come, are there any spare tickets? So wonderful to have such a response, and thank you all for being here and for moving around to free up those seats so generously. My name is Mark Williamson. I am Director of Action for Happiness. I want to do three very quick things before introducing tonight's speaker, Nic Marks, who's going to talk about ideas for a happier world. First of all, I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about Action for Happiness, for anyone who's not heard about that before. Secondly, I'm just going to tell you about the next event we're doing after this. This is one of our sort of monthly series of events, so there's something I think you'll hopefully find quite exciting coming up next month. And then thirdly, I just wanted to share with you something a little bit unusual, but it's something from one of our members of Action for Happiness, a very inspiring community project, which I think sets the scene quite nicely for tonight's discussion. So, just briefly, what is Action for Happiness? Quite simply, it's a movement of people taking action to create a happier society, from all walks of life, from very different backgrounds and in very different ways. But the idea is a society where as many people as possible are able to live happy, fulfilling lives. And there's a long way to go to get to that point, as we're going to discuss this evening. So, in practical terms, we're doing a number of things. We're first of all working with local community groups. Some of our members are setting up activities in their local communities using this amazing science of positive psychology and what we know about the keys to well-being and happy lives, and using those in local groups to try and make changes in their communities locally to spread to happiness and well-being. Secondly, in schools, where we've got a system that's obsessed with exams being the only metric of success, we're trying to encourage a greater focus on emotional well-being of children, on developing life skills, the things that really are the keys to a happy, fulfilling life at a time when all the system is focusing on other priorities. And finally, in workplaces, we're doing a lot of work with organisations on ways in which you can create a happier working environment and the benefits of doing that, both for individuals and for organisations. And we're helped in this task with a whole range of wonderful partner organisations who support us and we work with in various areas. And we also, behind the scenes, do try and influence and work with policymakers. To get to a happier society, as we're going to hear tonight, doesn't just require individual action and community action. Of course, it needs government to care deeply about people's well-being as well. So there's been a lot of debate you may have seen in the news recently on those topics. So that's the overall set of activities we're doing, and if you haven't come along and checked out, then we'd love you to get involved and join the movement in whatever way is relevant for you. In terms of what's coming up, our next event is in February, and it's a screening of a wonderful film that some of you may have seen when we put on before, called Happy. We showed it back the other side of Christmas, and it had an amazing response. Laughter, tears, spontaneous applause, which is quite unusual for a British cinema audience, I find. And on what's being called World Happy Day on the 11th of February, Saturday, screenings of this film are being put on all around the world, thanks to the team that were behind the film in the US. They are literally going on hundreds of screenings in many tens of different countries. So for our part, we're putting on a London screening again at the Coronet Cinema. So do join us there in the afternoon on that Saturday. But also some of our members and other cinemas and venues around the UK are putting on venues. So if you'd like to host your own screening or indeed go to a screening nearer to you, then do check out the World Happy Day website. I'm just going to very quickly show you a little film from the maker of the movie talking about World Happy Day.
Hi there, my name is Rocco Belic, and I directed a film called Happy. I just spent the last 5 years of my life exploring the true causes of happiness. And one of the most amazing things I discovered is how important happiness is. Happy people are less likely to commit crimes or pollute the environment. They're more likely to help a stranger in need, find a creative solution to a problem, and they even live healthier and longer lives. So happiness is important for us, not only as individuals, but for the world. We've envisioned a day in which people in communities across the globe will come together to watch the film Happy and begin journeys towards healthier and happier lives. There are 3 things you can do on World Happy Day. 1, you can find a screening to attend. Now, going to movies is always fun, and this is going to be awesome. 2, if there's not a screening in your area, you can host one of your own. There's information on our website, and it's pretty easy. And 3, spread the word. Please share this message with your friends, family, and colleagues, because together we really can make the world a happier place. Thank you so much.
So that's coming up in February, and there will be a series of other events going on roughly monthly for the rest of the year as well. So to stay in touch, do come to our website, join the movement if you haven't already, and there's a lot of social media activity that goes on with people talking about all kinds of issues relating to this. Now, the final thing I wanted to do just before introducing Nic is to talk about this community project I mentioned. So we have members all across the country doing various different things, and we certainly can't take credit for this amazing project I'm going to show you now, but the lady who's behind it, called Katie, contacted us and is supporting what we do. When Nic and I first talked about this event, he said it would be nice to have some music, and what this lady has done is created a very inspiring community project where communities come together. They've recorded a song and a video together, and it's been quite a transformational experience for them. But I think to understand why, it's worth hearing her story. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about her story and then this song that they've made in this community. It's called Meet Me in Winter.
1 in 4 people around you will experience some kind of mental health problem this year, but you may not know because many of them won't feel able to talk about it. For as long as I can remember, I've suffered from regular episodes of depression and anxiety, which have made it really difficult to cope. I haven't talked because I've been so scared that if people knew what it was really like, if they knew what I was really like, that they wouldn't want to be anywhere near me. I've been afraid that they would think I wasn't fit to bring up my children or do my job. But not talking didn't help me. And last year things got so bad that one day I walked away from my life and ended up in hospital. I realised that things needed to change. It was time to start being honest about what life was really like for someone like me. And what I found was that people didn't judge me or hate me the way I'd feared they would. They cared about me and they wanted to help, even if they didn't know how. And what's more, as I opened up, it seemed to make it easier for other people to start opening up too. And suddenly there were stories everywhere of people just like me who were doing their best, trying so hard, but somehow, sometimes not managing to cope. Hundreds of people from my town came together to record a song and a music video to raise money for charity. We wanted to create something beautiful that we could share with other people and offer hope. We're very proud of what we've done, and we want to tell everybody about it. But it's very hard to spread the word through the media because we're not famous and we don't have the money to pay for a PR campaign. We're just ordinary people. But we're doing something extraordinary and we'd like you to join us. So if you or someone you love knows what it's like to struggle, to be depressed or anxious, please share this. I know what it's like to feel completely alone. And I want to do whatever I can to remind people that it doesn't have to be that way.
Call to me when the cold wind blows.
Everyone needs a place to go.
Call to me when it's dark outside.
Everyone needs a place to hide. And I won't turn and walk away this winter's time. No, I won't turn and walk away, 'cause things need to change. Meet me in winter, I know where to go. We can watch as the moonlight dances on the snow. Meet me in winter, and I will show you where all the stars shine like diamonds in ice cold air. So meet me in winter,
about the rain or storm.
Don't you worry about the rain or storm. I know a place where the well comes warm. I know a place where the well comes warm.
Don't be afraid on your own tonight.
Don't be afraid on your own tonight. I know a place where the fire burns bright. I know a place where the fire burns bright. And I won't turn and walk away this winter time. No, I won't turn and walk away, 'cause things need to change. We're gonna change them, gonna change them. Why do people find it easy to cross the street and walk on by? If we do nothing, then believe me, nothing will change. But things need to change. Meet me in winter. I know where to go. We can watch as the moonlight dances on the snow. Meet me in winter, and I will show you where all the stars shine like diamonds in ice cold air. So meet me in winter, and I will take you there. So meet me in winter, and I will take you there. So meet me in winter, and I will take you there.
So as it says, together we can do amazing things. I think one of the reasons I love that is that apparently about a third of the people in that town actually were involved in that project in some way. So it's an amazing achievement in terms of bringing a community together. So a little scene setter for the idea of well-being and creating a really flourishing community. Let me just introduce Nic Marks, who's obviously the star attraction of this evening. I'm sure lots of you know a lot about Nic, but he, of course, founded the Centre for Wellbeing at the New Economics Foundation, and has been involved in lots and lots of their work, and indeed, some of the leading work in the UK and globally on the theme of happiness and well-being. The 5 ways to well-being, I'm sure he'll mention this evening. Nic was heavily involved in developing those. The Happy Planet Index, which I'm sure we'll also hear about, Nic was involved in. He's, of course, done a wonderful TED Talk, which is what the photo here is from, which led to a book as well, The Happiness Manifesto. And perhaps most interestingly of all, in Forbes recently, his work in this area was listed as one of the year's 7 most powerful ideas. So really looking forward to hearing what Nic has to say to us this evening. So please join me in welcoming Nic Marks.